What's going on, everybody? Hello and welcome again to another exciting episode of The Push. I'm your co-host, Dominic Mallon, here with the owner slash boss slash jefe
No
of
music
Bodies.
today?
No, we'll do that for the outro, dude.
Okay, all
We
right. We'll
have a we
surprise
have
her with
a
that. We'll
we have a
surprise her
very
with that.
special
All
guest
right.
here today, a very important guest. We can't be wasting our time trying to act like we belong on
Man.
American Idol. Come on now.
All right. I
So
was looking forward
anyway,
to it. I've been practicing anyway.
I'm here with you, you're here with me, and we're here with Space Jesus, the coolest nickname ever, by the way. We are here with Billie Starkz. Billie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Our
So,
pleasure. Have you ever seen Space Jesus in concert? I have to ask.
So, funny story. Uh, so I didn't even know about the other Space Jesus or like the band or the artist until I went down to Tennessee for STI. What year was it? It was the year. I feel like it was 2018 or 2017. I can't remember. But we went down and we're down there and we're chilling at the hotel, and I had my Space Jesus shirt on with like my hair and everything. And the waitress pointed out, "Oh, did you guys go to their concert?" And we like look at her a little confused, and then she explained like they were performing like probably
Oh, that's awesome.
far away. So that's when me and my mom first figured out about the Space Jesus.
I saw him in concert, I think, in January, actually. So I was just wondering. Every time I've seen that, I've wondered if that had anything to do with your moniker. But
Sadly, not.
I
coincidence.
love that
Yeah.
moniker, though, by the way. And I'll just plug it right now. You have awesome merch available on both Pro Wrestling Tees, and you have your own big cartel that you have going on too, which we'll plug all of that. But one of the coolest shirts that I thought is on there is your cartoon with the Space Jesus, and that's the one that's sitting in the cart right now. Um, but yeah, so you have a whole bunch of awesome merch available for anybody that wants to go up and check that out. But again, we'll plug that at the end. I'm all over the place right now because the more that I was researching about you, Billie, the more I was like, I can't wait to talk to this girl. She, I have a running thing with Cass on the show that I love talking about acting and theater.
Hmm.
And in one of the other interviews that you've done, you mentioned how you also are big into acting. You actually take acting classes on the side in addition. And when I was drawing up the questions for you, I caught myself laughing because I was drawing up the one question. Oh, did you ever do any musicals in high school or plays in high school? And then as I'm writing it, I stopped and I realized you're in high school right now. And you're totally beyond that whole point. Like high school musicals are a waste of your time at this point with what you have going on. I think it's so wild that you're doing all of this, and this is just like something that you do on the side in your life because you're also a high school girl just going through life in 2020, and that's insane to me. Um, I don't even know if that's one question. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with that. But as far as acting goes, what draws you to that as far as just wanting to get into that on the side beyond wrestling?
So originally, so in my head when I was growing up, I developed this game plan for myself that I would do other things that would help me later with wrestling. And like first it was cheerleading, so I could be like, in my mind it was like, oh, I can learn how to flip properly if I ever want to do that or whatever and whatever. And then I did cross country for endurance and like having a better stamina. And then when I got to high school, I was like, oh, if I take theater, it will probably be a really fun class, and then it will help with like my emotion in the wrestling ring. So like that's what originally drew me to theater. And then when I started going to theater, I made a lot of friends. And then I am this year taking theater two, and then also taking a stagecraft class, so I can later figure out how to make my own gear, because right now I'm helping with costume and props.
That's awesome.
You're like a Jill of all trades. This is insane.
Yeah.
So you also do like you just said, you do work with costume design and all of that, which in and of itself is its own industry within wrestling. And in addition to all of that, just kind of as its own thing, you're also an artist with just painting as well, correct?
Yes.
So
So painting is like my like bit outside of wrestling, and sometimes I'm even too lazy to do it. But like my room has always been covered with art because like it's always been my like outlet other than wrestling. Wrestling is my violent outlet, and then my uh, painting and stuff is my creative outlet and my calming outlet.
I love that. It's a little bit of both worlds. And to have that kind of knowledge, to know that you need that kind of self balance at such a young age is really a mature way of thinking. So that really speaks a lot, not to just how you're making use of your time, but also just how you're making use of your mentality and your vision, which is really cool. Um, did you ever think of bleeding those two sides of you together, as far as selling your art on your merch site or doing wrestling related art for other people?
So me and my mom had talked about it because I had a bunch of old paintings that were up, and then we were talking about like selling them through Twitter, and I was like, well, I actually want, like, if I was ever going to do that, I want to do it where it's kind of like commission based, where like people would send me ideas and stuff, so it wasn't like stuff I already had, it was something special for a person. But that was like kind of my mindset about it. And then like all of my old paintings we were thinking about, because we have this hallway that's like right outside my room, that I was going to just cover with all my paintings on the wall.
That's cool. I like that. Obviously, I'm a big fan of tiling. That's that's right up my alley. And that's really cool that you would kind of approach it from a taking requests standpoint, as opposed to limiting yourself to what you're comfortable with drawing and painting and putting that out. But is there anything that you specifically like to focus on when you are doing your art?
So like mine is very like either super super artsy and like so like I posted this one on Twitter, but it's like the Pinky Promise with the galaxy. That was like something that had meaning to me, and it's a promise between me and one of my other friends. And then I have other ones that are just completely ridiculous, like Elmo that's like on the wall with the fire behind him, like meme. And then I actually did do a painting for Cole Radrick because he did the SpongeBob tournament, or the Schmitty, I'm not gonna say his full name.
Oh,
Tournament.
Schmitty Wibberman Jensen.
Yes, yes.
He was number one, Mr. Krabs.
I know he was number one. But I did a SpongeBob painting for him and gave it to him. I'm pretty sure it's hanging up in his house now because he'll randomly send me pictures.
Very cool. Very cool. Now you really have been all in on wrestling from the time you were, I believe, what, 13, 14 years old?
Yes, when I started wrestling, I started training when I was 13 and then had my first match about 6 months later in October.
So
Wow.
between all of that, and like you said, you also were in extracurriculars with track, and you have these drama classes, in addition to just keeping up with classes. And how do you find the time to manage all of this stuff at your age and still manage to just go through adolescence?
So I've always been told I'm a very organized person and I'm very good about getting things done. And I'm lucky that I'm one of those people that school comes easy to me. Like I am in all AP classes and I've been a straight A student forever. And I am literally taking a class right now that's going to give me college credit. So like in my mind, I always plan to get things done as fast as possible. And luckily, I figured out that a lot of my teachers are willing to work with me. So, like, if I tell my teachers, "Oh, I have a show this weekend. Can I have a chance a little bit extension because I'm literally going to be out of state and not near my computer at all." And then even then, sometimes I'll just like type on my phone for the entire car ride, and I've done that for many, many papers.
Sure.
And I'm very lucky that like last year I would miss gym class a lot when I would leave early on Fridays to go to St. Louis for St. Louis Anarchy. My gym teacher took my wrestling matches as credit because you were supposed to turn in a video of you like working out, and that was my video. And she'd be like, "Oh, okay, check."
Yeah, I was gonna say I
I
feel
think that
like that's
qualifies. Yeah.
if there's one class to miss for pro wrestling, I feel like it's got to be gym class, right? That's cool though. It's so important to have those people in your life, whether they be friends, family, authority figures that you have to deal with, to have that type of appreciation and support from them to be able to give you a little bit of leeway, especially with, it's so easy to overlook the fact that, and I don't say this to diminish or at all, but you're still in so many ways a kid going through life as a kid. So to be able to catch a break here and there is so important for anybody that's even twice your age going through what you're going through, let alone now. I, not to even put it on the scale that you are, but I work and I'm going through school, and my boss is the same way, is so accommodating with things like that. And it really makes it easier for me to continue to have that passion for what I'm going to school for when I have that support from people. So that's so beautiful that you have that in your life as well. And one of the other things that you had mentioned in other interviews that you've done in the past is somehow, on top of all of this, you managed to have a job as well.
Yes, I
And
do have a job right now while doing school, while doing wrestling. And the job was more a thing that happened during quarantine because I didn't have school. School hadn't started, and my mom was like, "You literally just sit the house all day and play video games. I need you to get out."
that's insane to me because I feel like it would be so easy for you to be like, but mom, look at all I've done. Like, I deserve this. I deserve to just hang back. Um, but you didn't do that. You did what your mom recommended, which was make use of that small amount of time that was given back to you, and even turn that into something productive. And the job that you have is pretty um, unconventional, I would say. It's not necessarily the kind of job that most high school kids are going through and that maybe doing. But would you want to speak a little bit about what you do there?
So I work at a mechanic shop. I literally do the paperwork because the people I work with are all guys and they're all disorganized. So I help with the paperwork and stuff like that. And then I would just clean up and make sure that things are nice. And then randomly I will scrap cars that they tell me to. Literally taking stuff apart is the easy part, putting it back together is the hard part.
And that's what I thought was so interesting about that was it's not just, you know organizing paperwork. It's not just, taking phone calls. It's doing all the mechanical stuff that goes into that as well, even if it's baseline stuff. I couldn't do baseline stuff. I couldn't take stuff apart. I would need to call someone like that has knowledge like you, and I think I speak for Cass too.
Yeah, I don't.
That's about as much as you're going to
Not
get
my
out of me.
area of expertise at all.
So I just think that's it. Just all of this speaks to just how interesting of a person that you are, and just how much you've accomplished at this point. And you're not even old enough to vote yet, which is you're not really missing much right now. Trust me. Um, and that was another thing that I was laughing about as I was making these questions. Is I was going to joke with, "All right, first question, who'd you vote for?" And then I thought, wait a minute, she could slide out of that one too. So. Um, yeah, so I think that's so cool that you have so much going on and that you balance it all so well. But it would be weird to think that you're actually investing in your future by not looking at college as a part of that. But as you said, school comes easy to you and you're in AP classes right now while doing all of this. Is college something that you think of in your near future, or are you all in on just riding this wave of wrestling momentum?
See, when I was younger, I actually promised my mom that I would go to college if she paid for wrestling school. Wrestling school just happened to come early. The whole plan for like in my head was finish high school and then find a good wrestling school and then find my college near that. And then wrestling school happened early, but my mom and me still had the agreement that I still have to go to college because she already held up her end of the deal. Sorry. So my plan is to go to college because that's what my parents would want for me, and it's also a backup plan if wrestling ever does not work out, which I highly doubt.
Yeah, I can't see that happening
Yeah.
either. But it's a good sign that you're already I mean that you've already done what you've done and you haven't even gotten to college yet. So that really said with that, I feel like it's got to be a lot harder to make it in pro wrestling when you're still an adolescent than when you're in college and you have the freedom to, if you got to miss a class, you got to go away for a long weekend. So I think you're definitely on the right path, and it definitely comes not just with my own, unprofessional opinion of the work that you've done. It's written in stone. You've already had matches with Deonna Purrazzo, Kylie Ray, Jordan Gracie, Shotzi Blackheart. They're all matches that you can see online on YouTube that anybody can see. This is what I've done, and you've held titles in multiple promotions. You've had experience in such diverse types of promotions. You've been in New Level Pro where you held titles. You've been in Grindhouse Pro where you've held titles. Uh, Black Label Pro, which is like one of the hottest promotions on the indies. And you've also done matches in Game Changer Wrestling, which is the complete opposite of the technical mat based. So I guess my question here is how is what's it like to go from one of those promotions to another where it's such a completely different environment, completely different fan base, different style? Do you have to change up what you do, or are you bringing your unique experience to that promotion for them to use?
I believe I'm the same person everywhere, and where anytime I wrestle, I still do the same old crap that I do all the time, and I'm confused why people want to see me. But I've always seen wrestling as this environment that I always wanted to be a part of. And wrestling for me doesn't change no matter where I go, because for me, I love every moment I'm in the ring, and I'm always going to do what is me in the ring. Like I was at a show in Tennessee, and like I did moves that I never do, but it was more because I thought it would be funny and it would pop me. So like Bradley Prescott did a DVD and did the John Cena da 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 da. So I was just in this ring. I go, oh, I want to hit this da 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 da, and the whole crowd thought it was a finish for some reason, and I thought this was amazing. But ever see me on a different show, I will never do that.
Yeah, I love that. Now, as far as talking about where the people that you've been in the ring with, we have recently dropped the TNA, or I'm sorry, the Impact Knockouts title. But somebody like Deonna Purrazzo is somebody that you've been in the ring with, who they are now at Impact, kind of revolving a lot of the storylines and a lot of their TV time around. And at the same time, you see with Shotzi Blackheart in NXT, you see with Jordan Grace. Is it hard to look at people that you're in the ring with that are getting such exposure and seeing that you're doing it on still such a part-time basis with everything else that you're juggling? Or are you content with having this be something that you're doing while you're also going to school, getting your degree, and just having it come as it does naturally?
My goal is always to make a living out of wrestling, and I could never, I never understand the emotion of jealousy. If I see a person and I want what they have, it's like, okay, what can I do to get what they have? It's never like, dang, this sucks. I should be where they are. It's not like that. You can get wherever you want. It's just choosing how you want to go there and how quickly it's going to happen. And sometimes you don't have control over that. I know that at the moment my age is a limit, so I'm going to take what I can get, and then I'm going to use every opportunity to its fullest.
Is it frustrating, or is it more exciting to know that really the only limit is that age, which will it's literally just a matter of time based on the amount of connections that you've made, the experience that you've gathered, and the resume that you've already built for yourself?
I really have to say it's a mixture. Sometimes it's very, very frustrating because people aren't willing to take a chance because of my age. And then other times it's very exciting because the time they do give you an opportunity, it's so much fun to prove them wrong.
Sure. And one person that has taken a chance that we've already mentioned a little bit is Kylie Ray, who she's been in the news. Unfortunately, she's stepping away from wrestling right now. But would you want to speak to the experience that you've had of being in the ring with her and getting to sit under her learning tree?
I literally love her so much, and I'm sad to see her go. And I hope it's not forever, but we never know. I think she was truly built for wrestling and one of the best women wrestlers around. And I hope the best for her, but whatever is going to make her happy and mentally stable, and whatever is going to make her the best person she can be, it's her decision.
Sure. Now I know you worked with her in Black Label Pro, correct?
hmm
Now she also is involved in freelance wrestling. Did you happen to have any involvement there as well, or was that only in Black Label?
Sadly, not. I've got to see her a lot of times at Black Label, and I got to have so many great conversations with her.
Mhm.
And I think her match is probably her match with me was probably my favorite match I've ever had
Mm.
because of the emotion we were able to like put out, and you made other people feel that emotion. And I feel like that's what wrestling's truly about, is making people so connected are like, they remember that moment.
Mhm. One thing that I love that you've mentioned in the past is how you grow up in a wrestling household and kind of like a wrestling family, so to speak, and how there's never a loss of wrestling on TV in the background, so there's always wrestling on. And one question that I want to ask is, if you had the chance to invite anyone living or deceased over for family dinner with your family, anybody from the wrestling industry, it could be anybody that you would want to have dinner with, or anybody that the rest of your family would want to. Who would be sitting at that dinner table?
Ah, see, I have like two people in my mind, either like Millie McKenzie, just because I would love to meet Millie McKenzie and like pick her brain, or Alex Zane, because I would love to force him to watch backyard wrestling with me while we enjoy food.
Very nice. And when you're watching the kind of wrestling that you like to watch just to unwind, what are you throwing on?
Oh, backyard wrestling. I love good backyard wrestling. That's the thing. People don't understand like why I say it, but I feel like backyard wrestling is so much more creative. I don't feel like they put themselves in a box.
Hmm.
I feel like they are willing to try anything, and that's what I find so entertaining about it. So like I watch like two promotions, one that's in Alabama, which are like these kids in their backyard wrestling on a trampoline, and like they jumped off ladders and done crazy stuff. And one guy jumped off a roof and did a Spanish fly, and I was like, I'm sold. And then I watch another promotion called BXW, which is in like someone's backyard in this tiny, tiny ring. And it was one of like the most entertaining like shows I've watched in a while. Like they had my attention the entire time because I never knew what was going to happen next because it's so sporadic.
Hmm.
That's why I find backyard wrestling so interesting because it's so sporadic and you never know what's going to happen.
Sure. And somebody that made a career with that type of a style is Joey Ginawa, and you just recently made waves at the collective weekend that Joey Janela was instrumental in putting together. Have you had a lot of interaction with him personally? And
I sadly have not, but I hope to in the soon future.
but how about the collective weekend itself? Could you speak to what it was like being there and kind of just what felt like the first breath of fresh air when it comes to big live wrestling events happening again? Whether it's going to continue or not, anybody knows. But just to be there in that environment that weekend as it was happening.
Like in my mind, it had that spark of, oh, we can still have wrestling again, like kind of like how it was. Because there were so many people in this one place, but they were all enjoying the same thing, which is wrestling. And I had so much fun that entire weekend because I got to see so many people that I haven't got to see for so long because of this virus and the limited travel everybody's doing and trying to be safe.
Sure. But you've managed to stay busy. You haven't been for lack of work. And do you have any shows coming up or any promotions that you'll be appearing for that you can talk about?
I actually do have a show in Georgia called From Action, and then I will be wrestling Angelus Lane, which I am excited for. I believe that is the 13th of November. And I'm the worst about keeping up with my schedule. I can only do weekend by weekend.
Do you know where in Georgia that show is?
No, 'cause
No.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, that's just down in my area. I was like, oh, Georgia, that's near me. I wonder how far away it is from me. I'll have to look that one up myself.
I don't even know what papers I have due this week, so don't be too hard on yourself, okay?
I think I've only have like 3 assignments so far, and I'm about to knock them all out tonight because like they're all super easy stuff. And then
Nice.
the rest of my work is in class, so easy.
Well,
Nice.
that makes me feel even more guilty if I take too much time in this interview. But if college is in, I just want to ask a few more quick questions, if that's okay.
Fine.
And if college is in the near future, do you have any intended majors?
Um, I haven't really figured that part out yet. I've always said like when the time comes, I'll be ready for it. Um, because like I've always questioned like what else I want to do other than wrestling, and there's has been other ideas, but it's never like, oh, that will for sure make me happy, or oh, that will make me enough money to allow me to do this crazy career that does not have consistent income.
Sure. If uh, if I'm allowed to give you a piece of advice, if you care to take advice from this random guy you don't know with his childhood action figures standing behind him, don't spend money on college until you know what it is you want to spend that money on, especially
Hmm.
when you're doing such an awesome job of making money in a productive way for yourself now in the meantime. I know a lot of people that had to, take an extra year, an extra 2 years with college just because they had to change their major around or this or that. And it costs dozens of thousands of dollars to do that.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Perfect example of that right here. I
but
have like a degree I don't use, and then like three almost degrees that I was close to finishing, and then switch my major again, and just it's just a bunch of bullshit. So yeah, be ready. Know what you want to do before you go, just to go. That's my advice. I agree with Tom's advice there.
but I don't want to make this too much of it. Don't be like us,
Don't do what we did.
One thing that I really wanted to talk to you about was you mentioned that you grew up on Weezer and that your parents listened to a lot of Weezer. I think the Blue album is one of, if not my number one favorite album of all time.
Correct, correct.
And
No need for elaboration. Blue
No,
album's the best.
that's the correct
awesome.
answer. Yep.
I was gonna say not just because of the hair. I'm not just trying to throw that out, but a lot of people give me grief on that and say that either Green or Pinkerton should stand the test of time. I think every single song on Blue can stand alone as just one of my favorite songs.
I
But
completely agree. Pinkerton is a close second, but like I don't see Green in the same category. Green is like here, Blue album's here.
I agree. Now, you also listen to a lot of Billie Eilish. Uh, what other artists do you like to listen to?
Um, I've said this a lot that my music taste is all over the place, and it's really just depends on my mood. But I have been listening to a lot of Juice World, and then randomly I will listen to Front Bottoms, and there's also this band called Mom Jeans.
Hmm.
So like I'm very like all over the place and whatever like I feel like in the moment or like whatever's popped up on my YouTube suggested.
Sure. One thing that I wanted to speak about really quickly, that this kind of surprised me because I would think that with somebody that's made such a name for himself and is so known as you are while still in school, I would have thought that you'd kind of be treated like a celebrity in school. And kind of counter to that, you mentioned that you kind of get bullied every once in a while by people who throw that out. And to me, that kind of sounds like people that don't have any more creative way or more intelligent way to really come at you. So they just turn that into an insult. I couldn't imagine that as being something insulting. Is it even possible for when you hear that, do you take it as an insult if it's said the right way? Or is it always like, that's what you're making fun of me for?
So, like, I've always been one of those people, I really don't care. I've always been told I am the nice bully. Like, I bully the bullies. So, like, most of the time, it's just retribution because, like, someone said something to my friend, so I go back and say, "Hey, yo, shut up."
I
So,
gotcha.
like, most of the time, it does not affect me, and I really don't care. And I feel like a lot of times it has built up this, like, persona that people are afraid of me because they think I'll beat them up, but literally I'm the sweetest person in the world and don't care. Like my friends most of the time will joke about it because they're like, if they only knew you, you will not do anything.
If you could plan out how the next 12 months are going to go, and you could kind of call your shot as to where you'd wrestle next, where would you ideally like to see yourself at?
I would love to wrestle for Beyond Wrestling, and that I have set goals for myself, and that is one of them. And most of the time, I don't share my goals because I like to keep it a secret. And when I accomplish them, I'm like, haha, I did it. But that is like one of my goals that for the next 12 months that I want to be a part of their roster, and I love what they have going on there and just want to be a part of it.
That's awesome.
I think that's a pretty obtainable goal. I don't see why that wouldn't be something that would happen in the near future.
It's wild to think that with what you've done so far, that literally everything is attainable for you. There's nothing that's beyond your reach. And this is actually the last question that I had written down. You're cruising on the Milky Way. You're chilling, listening to music. You pull up next to Chris Statlander.
Hmm.
How is that interaction going down? Are you guys friends, foes? Who runs the Milky Way? Is it a duel situation, or is there instant beef?
I feel like it's a chill situation, but at some point we're gonna get in an argument and we're gonna to have that fight. And
Okay,
then whoever wins the Milky Way for a little bit, and then whenever we want to challenge each other again.
I like that. So it's not even it's an not an instant. It's a continuous clash and a continuous rivalry. Now, if she hits you with the bop in the nose, is that what starts it, or because
Ooh.
that from what I can gather, it kind of seems like that's her kind of just interacting, saying hi. But if somebody bopped me in the nose, then I feel like more often than not, I'm going to be mad about it.
I don't know if she would have the chance to because like I'm a very like crazy person. When I first introduce people, I mess with them a lot. Like I do the Kyle thing. I've done that a lot, and I've actually found like wrestlers' names whose real names are Kyle, and they look at me like,
That's great. I got you. Well, look, I had, there was one other. Oh, I've asked this before too, but you like acting. That's something that's in your wheelhouse. If you could put yourself in any, and don't say Heather's. If you could put yourself in any classic, campy 80s or 90s movie in the cast, what would it be?
no, Heather's would have been my go-to.
I know, that's why I took it off the table.
Ah,
And I say that because I heard you guys talking about it on Gregory Iron's podcast,
Friend of the
Iron on
show.
Iron on Wrestling. He actually, Cass and my first interview was with Gregory Iron, and he's awesome. I love his podcast. I love everything he does. I especially loved his interview with you, and everybody should go back and listen to that. But oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. It's
You
up
were
and
talking
down.
about the Heathers.
Yes, but taking Heather's off the table because you mentioned that in that interview. Which movie would you put yourself in?
probably Breakfast Club
Okay,
because I would
Ooh.
feel like that would be a fun group to interact with.
nice. Who would be your favorite? Who would be your best friend in that group? I know they all
Oh,
come together at the end in a beautiful and heartwarming coming of age way, but until that point.
I don't know. Like I feel like I would be the one who's messing around with everybody and like running around the room as soon as the guy leaves, and then
Okay.
getting yelled at by everybody.
You'd be like a non-hostile bender,
Yes.
like a friendly bender. I like it. Cass, what would you put yourself in? Which 80s movies would you put yourself in?
Oh man, '80s movies,
Mm-hmm.
dude. Rocky IV, obviously.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Would you be one of the Russians that's like running behind him while he's training in the snow?
Yeah. I'm trying to keep up, and I fall down, and then I get pissed off, and he leaves me, and the car turns sideways, and then I just kick the tire, and then we're stuck in the middle of the wherever they're at.
Billy,
Were
you
they
ever
in
see
Siberia?
you ever see the movie Weird Science?
Oh, so good.
Is that like where there's like a girl and like
Like two
okay,
nerds
I
like
know.
build a girl on the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
It
know.
is
build a
like
girlfriend.
I actually
so
recently watched that. That's the funny part.
yeah, it's like so. I don't know if that's the one I would put myself in, but it's so classic '80s. Like the everything about it is just so '80s. But I'm glad you already saw. I was going to recommend it to you otherwise. Um, I'm all out of questions. Cass, you have anything else for the lady while we have her here?
um, I was just really wanting to know like some stuff about the collective, just because that was, like you said, that was such the our welcome back to wrestling or whatever. I was just wanting to know a little bit more about that. Like, how many matches did you have over the weekend? Like
I
four,
originally was only scheduled for 2, and then I ended up having 3.
three.
Because I originally wasn't on the Black Label show, and then I got a message that morning, hey, you gonna be here?
Nice. Yeah, Dom and I had talked about. I was going to try to come up, and I was going to try to convince him to go up with me, but it just didn't work out. There's a lot of friends up there. I was hoping to go that weekend. It seemed like a lot of fun, and I just can't wait for some more wrestling like that. That's why I was interested in where you're going to be in Georgia, just because here in North Carolina, there's still not a lot going on up here. So, trying to venture out of the state to find wrestling to do, which
I've
I might
heard
go to
like
Jacksonville.
I've like been in like a very like weird mood with wrestling. I just want it to be where it was, and I understand it can't be right now. So I'm like, but like at the collective, it was that moment of, oh, we can get back there. We just have to take some time.
Sure.
What stood out, and what was your favorite moment from that entire weekend?
So what stood out was probably my last match of the weekend where I busted my head open. And
That
then
was pretty scary.
so like everybody freaked out about it, but like in my head it was not that bad because like I hit. So like I went through the ropes and automatically knew that, oh crap, I'm not getting caught. So if you like slow it down, you see me just tucking a ball,
Yeah.
and then I hit, and I open my eyes really quickly, and I go, okay, I don't see dots. I haven't blacked out because when I was in cheerleading, I got hit in the head like all the time. So sometimes I would see dots, or like I would see like the shadow. So in my head, I was like, okay, I'm good because I don't see any of that. And then everybody rushes over to me, and I was like, oh, it's because I fell. I'm okay. So I like look at everybody. I go, I'm okay. I'm okay. And then the ref who was in the match goes, no, you're bleeding. And I touch my head, and it's only like a little bit of blood. So I go, oh, I'm fine. So like I push everybody away from me and like get away from me. And then I ended up making my mom yell at a bunch of wrestlers who came to help me. So like she's yelling at people, and like I had people checking up on me during the match, and I'm like, I'm fine, guys. Why are you all near me? And then like during the match at EMT came and checked on me, and then he goes, I don't think you have concussion. You know your name. You're functioning. I'll let you finish, but come see me after the thing. And I go, okay. So I finish my match, and I'm like, okay, cool. I walked to the back, and everybody thought I was actually messed up, but like that was just me selling. And I was like, no, I was fine. And then I got yelled at, and then my dad the entire time just looking angry, like. But
You sold too hard.
Yeah.
we like pulled up the video, and he goes, I knew you were fine because me and my parents have a signal like if I'm okay or not, and I had to keep giving it to them because you see my mom keep bouncing up like
Asking for it. Yeah.
I so the signal is I bite my thumb, so like
Okay.
I kept looking at her and like doing that, and I go, I'm okay.
That's awesome.
um, but I finished. I went to the back, and they checked it all out. They're like, "Oh, you're probably gonna get stitches or staples, blah blah blah." And they washed it out. They bandaged my head up, and I was like, "Okay, I'm good." Everybody was so like, oh my god, ah! I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's fine, I'm okay. And then someone told me they were gonna shave my head to put the uh uh
The
stitches, and I
staples.
go,
Or
okay, I'm not
staples.
getting them. It's not that bad. And I was like, I'm going home. And my mom looked at me and she goes, no, we're going to the ER. So we like finish up the show. I pack up. We go and get in the car. We drive home. I get at the ER at like 2 in the morning, and they look at me and they're going, we're gonna give you staples. And I go, okay. And the way I do my hair, luckily, where I had to get the staples, it was already like parted and everything, so they didn't have to like pull on my head. And they go, yeah, since the way your hair is, we're not gonna have to like cut anything, and it's not in the way, so we're just gonna staple it. Can't
See,
wash it or do anything, so your hair is kind of like going to be trash for the next week.
right.
Gee.
But even the way you injure yourself is so organized and like very like structured. Oh man. Speaking of your hair, do you ever get any issues with that, like going into school? Well, I guess now you're in school online, but did you get any issues with that, like having your hair colored going into school prior?
See, in my, I think it was elementary school, they were like kind of against like not natural hair. But then like when I went into my middle school and my high school, they're very like open, do whatever you want. Like I don't even have a uniform.
Oh, cool.
And like my school is very like creative, do whatever you want, make a difference, have fun, guys. So like I feel like that has made it like people more comfortable with like who they are, and like
Cool.
I feel like it's better to have school structured that way because people's personalities come out a lot more. But that's just me, because I'm a very creative person, and like a lot of the people I've been around are very creative people, and they just want to express themselves.
Sure. I actually went to Catholic school where we had the uniforms and you get detention if your hair came down below the collar, that kind of stuff. So and to, counter to that, I can say it was nice to roll out of bed and not have to worry about what I'm wearing. But I also went to an all boys school, so I think it probably like I think I'd care a little bit more about how I looked if I was going to a co-ed school than if I was going to an all boys school. So, but that's just me. Um,
I'm not gonna lie, I've gone to school many times in my pajamas because I've learned to not care about my appearance. My mom yells at me all the time because like I came to school because I would go to a wrestling show on a Sunday night, get home, just go to sleep. My makeup still on my face, so I'd wake up and there'd just be makeup smeared everywhere. I'd pull my hair up kind of like how it is now, all messy, and then go to school. It's like
right.
I'm out of bed. This is all I need to do, guys.
I I- your life could be a TV show. It could be a movie. Do you ever think about
So
that?
much so.
I'm not even saying that like jokingly. It could literally be Netflix is constantly buying up TV show ideas. I feel like you could just walk in, tell them how you spent your last week, and they'd be like, "Sold, we'll buy it."
Dom, you should pitch it and then get us a cut on this, and this will be some magic we can make happen
Yeah,
right
let us
here.
ride. Let us ride the coattails.
Ride those coattails as far as we can.
Listen, I'm getting to the point where I really am feeling guilty about keeping this young lady from her
You guys are
assignments and her
completely
friends that are
fine.
sitting there waiting for her. Do you have any other questions for her, Cass?
No, I'm good. I just enjoyed getting a chance to talk to you. You were a standout over the collective weekend. Obviously, you're one of the couple names that really blew up from that. So we really appreciate you coming on and joining the show and talking to us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time and just God bless you with everything that you've done and that you're going to be continuing to do and moving forward. Everybody, go follow her if you're not already on social media. Follow her at Billie BillieStark with a Z. And you're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and you really do have awesome merch. Stickers, koozies, keychains, pictures, 8x10s, really cool T-shirts, all available at her Big Cartel. Is it Big Cartel backslash Billie Starkz as well?
Yes, I
Okay,
believe so. If not, it's in my Twitter bio.
sure. And we'll link everything below. Also, you can find her on prowrestlingtees.com. But once again, thank you so much for taking the time. And you are always a friend of the podcast. We are more than happy to have you on whenever you'd like to come on,
Good.
so that
Love
we
for
can
you to come on again.
so that we can continue to get the rub from you.
Yeah, definitely.
But thank you so much, and have a great rest of your year. Hopefully everything continues up on the up and rise for you.
Thank you guys so much.
And now you get to enjoy our award-winning
Yeah.
and highly anticipated outro music. Are you ready?
We'll take her out
Wait,
with the
should we
outro.
plug our social first? Because we forgot to do that.
Nah, we've taken up too much time.
Nobody
cares about
Nobody
us.
gives a shit about us. You're right.
You ready?
All right, you ready?
Podcast with Dom and Cass and Billy.
The
The
push.
push.
That was for you.